There we are.
All right.
What's
I
happening,
think
brother?
it's official. Good evening. So I guess we had a little bit of internet trouble at the tail end of that premiere. On my end, I did. You just told me on the in the backstage just now that we had some issues here. It for some reason froze on me. By the time I got reconnected, it was at the thanks for watching part, and I'm like, oh, oops, I missed about the last minute or so. But
For me, my computer disconnects from my internet. So I'm sure the stream went absolutely fine. It was probably just a coincidence that you and I both had issues at the same time. But yeah,
gotcha.
it's this old computer that I'm running with, but it's still working. How you been,
Well,
man?
this is hey, it's been it's been well, I'll say. Back to work and hopefully getting excited about 2025's projects with new mushroom endeavors and mushroom videos to keep tabs on these things. And
Yeah, man.
just so everybody knows, if there's anybody watching, I can't imagine anybody wants to watch this. But this is super casual. I'm eating in front of everybody. You're doing whatever you're doing. We're all good about this. I don't care. All we're
It's all
doing,
good.
all we're doing is going to be BSing about the video that just premiered, and maybe if there's anybody that did get to catch it that has a question, including you, of course. So this is Shroom Day for anybody who is watching. I'm Mr. Jeff, of course. Tonight's video is about pheasant back mushrooms primarily, although you saw in the beginning a little bit about what was that, violet tooth polypore. And I just kind of briefly covered the idea of white rot fungi and what they're doing in the woods. So questions are out there, whatever they might be. I welcome them. I like to answer these things, and I also want to take opportunities to go live so I can correct what I did wrong in the video.
What did you
So
do wrong in the video?
I don't know if necessarily did a wrong
I
per
didn't,
se, but
didn't say anything wrong.
sometimes when I'll watch something, I'll be like, huh, I don't know if it's true exactly how I phrased it. So it might not even be a big deal, but something like when I crouched down and saw that white fuzz that was on that log that was already on the ground, and I talked about how spores can land on something and then they'll myceliate, and that could be like a new rot forming on a dead log that had initially fallen because of the rot being in a living tree, a parasitic rot that caused the tree to die and then eventually fall in a storm per se. I honestly don't know. I have no clue what the percentage of how much could be this fungi from the tree falling and how much could be brand new.
Yeah.
Plus, half those logs in there you could see were clean cut. They were human cut, right?
Hmm.
So if they were human cut, I don't know if they were human cut because the tree was diseased and it was safer to just, kind of make the cut on purpose and
Gotcha.
fell the tree on purpose, or were they cutting? Like that's the only reason I could think they'd be cutting it, unless they were just cutting trees down to make room for something, power lines or whatever, and the trees were healthy. But if that's the case, wouldn't they have taken the logs if they were
Maybe it's just
healthy?
to
I
help
don't
the
know.
other. Maybe it was could have been just to help out the other trees, thin it out a little bit so they didn't starve each other out for sunlight.
So that brings up something. I do
It's
want to share
possible.
this, and I highly doubt she's watching. But you know where I used to be up listening to the owls, Powder Mill.
Yeah.
Okay, a lady that used to work up there, she no longer works there. She's now out near Philly. I'm not going to
Okay.
say her name, but I am going to say that she's a doctor in something that has to do with trees. She knows these Pennsylvania woods very well. Pertaining to the trees though, that's her specialty. She went to school for it. So being a doctor in whatever ecological topic you can get a doctorate in, I don't know if it's like being an arborist or what the field is. I don't
Right.
know. But anyway, she knows this stuff. I saw her office and she's got shelves of books dealing with trees. So just as much as I may be a nerd, she's 10 times that a nerd in her field, I believe. Like I'm very impressed, and I've invited her to be on my channel at some point to pick her brain about how
Okay.
the ecology of some of these tree rots work. Because what I look at is like, ooh, a mushroom. She looks at it as, ooh, a tree rot, right? We look at the same thing from two different angles. And she'd
Gotcha.
be able to answer some of these questions that I have no clue about. So as I'm walking through the woods filming, I come back, watch the video just now, and I'm like, you know what? I sound like I know what I'm really talking about, but sometimes it sounds like to me listening to myself, I don't even know much about the tree side of things. And
Okay.
like how that tree log ended up there. There's a lot that goes into investigating how these rots even get their start, how they're formed.
It
I'd
almost
love
sounds
to
like you
have
need to
this
start.
person on the channel. Anyway,
You
I'm
should
sorry.
start carrying a little notebook or something so you can start writing down questions and be prepared for when she does come on and talk with you. Because I
For
mean,
sure.
you could think of a million questions, throughout, now and a month from now. But at the same time, what are the odds you're going to remember all the good ones when it actually comes right down to it?
That hey, and that's honestly that's why I keep these after videos, I keep them
Hmm.
posted on the channel, even though probably 90% of it's fluff or it's not even much going on. Um, there may be a little spot in there where we're talking about something that I want to go back because, oh, yeah, I remember we had a discussion about that mushroom. What did
Yeah.
we say? I can go back and watch the video. But maybe that's a neuroticism on my part, not trying to delete anything. I keep all these stupid videos. So
There's
I,
nothing
I
wrong with
think
saving the memories.
true, but I
That,
think I have more videos than I do subscribers. It's getting silly.
you got to
How are
start
you doing?
being
How
more
are you doing?
persistent.
I know it's off topic for a second, but hey, this is the first video back from on my end of doing this kind of video type thing each
Hmm.
week. So I want to say welcome back. I feel good coming back into spring, and now that we've been getting a lot of rain out here in Pennsylvania, or at least it seems like it because we're seeing mushrooms popping. So
Yeah, I'm not
how
too
is it
far
going
from
up
you.
there?
It's springing here. Definitely a lot of rain. Weather has been pretty crazy. We've had a lot of wind lately. The last couple of days, temperature dropped back down into the 50s for a little bit, but we were up into the 80s for a little while. It was either hot or it was just pouring down rain. We were wet here for about 2 weeks, but um, yeah, I've been seeing some mushrooms popping up here and there in people's lawns as I'm going around doing my thing.
I was
So
gonna say you travel around to spots where you're gonna see mushrooms frequently, and
yeah.
you're also in areas maybe the ground's not already disturbed, but you disturb the ground, I'm sure.
Oh,
But then
sure.
again, do you actually go to spots where the ground's already disturbed, where it's been dug already?
Most of the places I'm at have nice manicured lawns. Um, and I think a lot of
Not new
people,
construction.
no, I
Okay.
actually think most of the places I go to spray pesticides and fungicides on their lawns to keep anything from popping up. A lot of people try to, maintain it looking like a golf course. So, unless they're spraying fertilizers on their lawn, I don't get to find very much. Um, but every once in a while I'm out and about, I do get to find some mushrooms. I don't know why half of them are though. I'm not out in the woods looking for anything edible. I'm just looking around and happen to see stuff growing on the side of the road. Yeah.
I was I was doing my work with the folks that I do gardening with. And I tell them, hey, there's mushrooms popping over in this spot over here in the mulch or over in this area. And to me, I'm like, oh, this is cool. I'm taking a photo or two. I'm trying to figure out what species this is. Or if I already know what species it is, I'm trying to tell them, hey, check this one out.
Yeah.
They had dead man's fingers growing in some of their mulch, and I wanted them to see it because that fascinates me.
Hmm.
And they don't care. As a matter of fact, they asked me to remove them. They prefer that there's not mushrooms in their mulch. So we come from
That
different worlds, I guess,
that
like that
goes to
Hootie and
what
the
I was
Goldfish song.
saying. That kind of goes along with what I was saying. People are spraying fungicides in their lawn because they just don't want to see it. I think it's beautiful. I love it. Seeing mushrooms pop up on in lawns and on trees and decaying stumps that border people's property. I absolutely love seeing that. I'll walk over
Right.
and just completely stop what I'm doing and forget about why I'm at these people's homes and just walk over and start checking out the mushrooms and trying to slip my camera phone underneath it to, get a picture of the gills or, whatever, to see what's happening. And people are looking at me like, what are you doing over there? Can I help you? And it's like, no, I'm good. I'm just looking at the mushrooms here. I don't need your help.
And
And
I'm okay with that. I'm okay being thought weird. It's
mm-hmm,
almost like a badge of honor at this point.
nothing wrong with being a
So,
little different.
I mean, and and there's nothing wrong being a little evangelical about it, a little preachy about it, being like, hey, check these out. But I let folks know that, hey, it's not for everybody. But I do encourage folks, now I sound preachy. I do encourage folks to get back in nature. Find something in nature that does fascinate you, and it doesn't have to be fungi. But for
Yep.
me and for you, we enjoy the mushrooms. We enjoy them of all shapes and sizes because I don't know about for you, but when I discovered that when there was more species of fungi than animals, as we view them as like kingdoms, I know they're not necessarily classified scientifically as kingdom. Truly, they got a different name for the clade. But just that aside, the fact that there's fungi and there's animals, right? And I forget what the number is now. If it's like 10 times as many, but there's so many, and they believe that they haven't even discovered, but maybe 5% of what's out there in the fungal
Yep.
kingdom, and who knows what's out in these Pennsylvania woods. So you taking the knowledge of our lack of knowledge. That's what I'm talking about. The fact that we don't have a clue what's out there. Couple that with the legends and the lore of what North American natives have said. They have their medicinal mushrooms, and I'm not even talking about the psychedelic mushrooms right now per se, but they talked about ones like polypores that grew on the trees that had different magical, mystical, or medicinal properties. And
Yep.
we're just now starting to learn. I'm talking beyond chaga. I'm talking beyond reishi. Excuse me. So some of these things that fascinate me, that's what getting into these videos like
Oh,
Cereporus squamosus. It was almost like to me the fact that we were able to have a mushroom that in 2020 in Egypt. I posted a link in the comment too. In the video, there is a link to this study, but it was Egyptian scientists that took this mushroom and made a straight up extract of it. They didn't analyze which chemicals were in it. So there's a lot to be desired as far as, you know, what's actually going on. We don't know. We just know that for now, this mushroom was able to actually have a positive effect against this type of skin cancer in
right.
petri dish trials, not actually on a human skin. But then again, we're taking the strict rigors of science that says this is what we know and that's all we know. And we can't claim that we know anything else beside what we actually scienced. And then you got like some of the ancient Chinese medicine or ancient native medicine indigenous throughout wherever continent or region had the medicine in the mushroom. And they have their written down or oral reports that this mushroom did this or does that. And science says, well, we can't trust that. That's not scientific.
Yeah. Hey, give
But
me 1 minute.
anecdotally,
My girlfriend just walked in the door. I'll be back in a minute.
you got it. I'm still going to keep rambling though, in case there's an audience, because I can't see my screen to see if there is. I don't think there is. But I can say this, that you have an anecdotal side of the history of medicinal mushrooms that goes back thousands of years, and you have the science side that's just now starting to scratch the surface on what this can do versus that. And a video like tonight was getting into a current discovery. We'll call it a discovery. All they did was take an extract of a mushroom and show that it can be efficacious against squamous cell carcinoma, the second most common skin cancer, whether it's worldwide or just in America. I'm not sure. I'm in America, guys. Where are y'all at? We got somebody watching. Hey, that's a great thing to say in the comment. Let me know what country you're in. Or is that you watching? I don't know. It says there's one watching. That might be you, but welcome back.
No, I got everything closed down except for StreamYard so my internet don't get slowed down.
Well, it says one's watching, so I just say to whoever's watching, it's probably my mom lurking.
Hello.
She told me on Mother's Day that she's been lurking on my channel on the lives. If there's ever like one person watching and doesn't comment, it's her. So I found that out. But that aside, anybody that jumps on here, hey, I welcome you to leave what country you're in. Because I speak of a lot of things that is like, I just assume it's America. But then again, my studies I read is these were Egyptians doing the study on this mushroom.
Okay.
So while you were gone, I was just talking about anecdotal versus science and how I'm trying to bridge the gap. I'm trying to say that it's not a bad thing to do the science here, but it's also not a bad thing to consider the anecdotal. You don't have to necessarily I can't say it, full blown trust the history and the lore of some of these medicinal mushrooms. Just because they said it did this for thousands of years means it's necessarily going to cure my cancer or something. I don't want that to be my message. If anything, all I'm trying to do is spark the curiosity in folks to think, maybe I should consider adding this third branch of food to my diet. You know, we eat animals, we eat plants, but who's out there eating mushrooms consistently? It used to be a thing. And as a matter of fact, a lot of animals eat mushrooms in their diet. And I'm looking forward to doing that as one of my videos pretty soon, where I explore which animals are fungivores or species that particularly look out for mushrooms and incorporate them into their diet consistently. We're not
I
the
would
only
have
ones,
to
of
guess
course.
I would have to guess most mammals out there are eating mushrooms. I mean, they're there. Nature is
I'm
smart. They know
definitely
it's okay.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna do a dive into that as a video, but I can tell you this. Um, we obviously know morel season. When you're out there hunting for morels, you're hunting in competition with squirrels and turkeys and deer
Mm-hmm.
and probably even I don't know. I imagine slugs. I know that
Oh,
I've seen
absolutely.
slugs on just about every mushroom I find, right? So. Um, It's
Yep.
interesting when you look into the idea of these different species enjoying mushrooms. We're talking of a variety of species from insects and cephalopods like slugs to all the way up to 19 different primates. Like it's not just humans, but gorillas and chimps and bonobos and some of the other ones out there enjoy eating mushrooms too. So
Yeah,
that'll
we
be a
have all
that'll
heard.
be a fascinating video.
I think most of us have heard the theories about the chimps and the apes eating mushrooms.
Oh, I wasn't even talking about that, but that
No, I know.
too. I mean, no, but I think that would be a great topic for a video too, maybe even as a spin-off could go right into that as a whole nother video idea to follow up because of what you just said. I just saw the connection. So thank you for that. I could do first a video exploring the types of animals that eat mushrooms and how much of them like how much of their diet it is because some of them only eat mushrooms on occasion while some species almost entirely live off of mushrooms, which fascinates me because mushrooms, you and I both know sometimes they're hard to find. So how
Right.
is an animal particularly going to live almost entirely off of mushrooms if they don't pop up all the time? So we're going to touch on that,
They would
but I
certainly
want to
have
touch
to live in a tropical climate. Where otherwise they're not
possibly,
popping up
but
all year
possibly
long.
not. So I
Well,
will get into this because it's stuff I've already read on it, but I haven't compiled my thoughts in a way that I'm gonna have a full video discussion yet. But that'll be a video topic coming up soon. But how I'll spin off that is I'll take that same topic idea, and when I get into the idea of primates, I got to get into that whole theory that you touched on, and then I'll just briefly mention it and lead that into the discussion of a following video idea because that's a great video idea that number one, I want to talk about. I've been wanting to share that idea or at least especially talk about McKenna. But two, I think it's about time and it's safe enough. It's not like, saying what he talked about is anything controversial as far as getting banned off YouTube, right?
right. No, he didn't
So
say
yeah,
anything that would get you banned if for repeating it or anything like that.
it might be controversial coming from maybe a standard frame of thinking from the science community. But hey, I talk a lot of fringe science and pseudoscience on here. I'm not ashamed of it. I think
Hey,
that's the beauty of being in the mushroom world.
if it's for educational purposes, YouTube can't do anything or shouldn't be doing anything about what you talk about. So I don't
Which
think it
is,
would be an issue to talk about the stoned
and
ape theory and
that's
what
why I don't
mushrooms.
think, yeah,
Right,
I don't think they should be flagging videos when I post, like kind of grotesque hospital photo shots of people, but I have before and they flagged it. But I'll put on the video. It's not, you have to sign in 18 or older because it has graphic content. But
right.
they could still ban your video depending. It's up to them.
In your premiere, you had made a comment about YouTube flagged the one video, because you had shown pictures of some diseases or something like that. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I remember that, and well, I remember the video and seeing the pictures, and I got to be honest with you, it caught me off guard a little bit. It was just like,
They
whoa,
were
buddy, you
yeah, they
know,
were rough. But I gotta say, to me, I don't know. Maybe there's a little bit of me trying to shock the public and disturb. That's almost like that side of me coming out. And here's an avenue where I feel like, oh, I can disturb them with this and still be, talking about fungi. But I want to also raise some kind of awareness that do you realize that in not in America, but in India, I guess we're switching topics, but it's still my channel. Who cares? That disease that you saw in the picture is a disease that's not so rare anymore in India, and it's highly connected to diabetes, which is on the rise in India. It's an epidemic.
no shit.
So type 2 diabetes and having that high blood sugar kind of gives, I don't know if I'd have to go back and watch the video at this point. I don't even remember the details on it, but I think it's basically giving that fungus fuel to feed, and it enjoys that part of the skull where it can actually tear off or destroy the actual bone can be removed. Hence why they are going to need
Wow.
prosthetics. But these are, you're talking about prosthetics. Now I sound like Allen Iverson. We're talking about practice. We're talking about prosthetics because in India, most of these people don't have an income where they can afford a prosthetic, especially the
Right.
ones that are dealing with type 2 diabetes. This is, I don't know the economics completely, so I don't want to completely just come out and say a number. But I
Oh,
can
there's
guarantee you,
people here in the U.S. that can't, afford their medical bills for type 2 diabetes and prosthetics, and yeah, that it's running rampant everywhere, really. But I don't know, it's people's diets, these energy drinks, it
hmm,
too much. Oh,
hey
wait a
now,
minute. Says the guy that's working on getting sponsored by C4. Sorry about that, bud. C4, that we're not talking about C4. That's healthy. That's good for you. Nah, I'm just playing.
I know
Nah,
I feel like I have to justify my habits here because I'll tell folks, hey, it's not your standard energy drink. C4 is a pre-workout. It has different ingredients, and I almost sound like a broken record every time I have to tell somebody it's not. Why do I feel the need that I got to tell folks? I'm just about to tell folks, hey, I'm going out like a Roman candle piece. I'm taking these C4s with me, guys. See ya.
well,
No,
if it's any
I can be a little
consolation,
silly about it.
I was referring to the Red Bull being really bad for you
Mm.
and giving you diabetes, not not C4, because
Oh, and
I've never heard of
I
anybody saying I've drank in a whole bunch of C4 and I got diabetes, but I have heard people say I drank Red Bull and got diabetes. So
so get this. You'll have to do your own homework, listener at home, whoever may be, zero, I think. But I just read that a study, I'm talking 2025 study, where the ingredient taurine, which is found in most of your popular energy drinks, including Red Bull, taurine, you heard of it, I'm sure. It's
I
not
have
in C4 though. So because C4 is not an energy drink. Once again, it does not contain taurine. But I guess there was a report that said taurine was actually linked to some, I don't remember if it was diabetes or some kind of metabolic disorder. Anybody that goes back and watches the film right now, don't quote me. Just Google or do a search for the word taurine 2025 study and see what comes up. And I guarantee you won't like the results if you drink taurine energy drinks like Red Bull. Red Bull gets its name. It's named after taurine because taurine it comes from the Latin word taurus, the bull. Because they discovered the chemical of taurine from, I think, the bile or liver of a bull. They discovered this compound taurine, and I guess it's an amino acid or an substituted amino acid of some sort, and it has some kind of benefits. That's why they add it to the drinks because it does something to us in a
now.
good way. But
I
now they're
just looked.
finding that long-term use is not good.
Well, I just looked a little
So,
something up here. It's saying found in popular brands like Red Bull, taurine is an amino acid naturally present in meat and fish. But when concentrated in energy drinks such as Red Bull, it's a different story. Researchers published in the journal Nature revealing that taurine may fuel the development of leukemia cells.
mhm,
So yeah,
that's the
basically they
study. Excuse me.
concentrate the hell out of it when they put it in Red Bull or whatever energy drinks it's in. So it sounds like something to be avoided.
That was it. That was the one, the leukemia study. Excuse me.
Um,
Thank you for looking that up. Now, once again, anybody watching at home, I'm not the I'm not the one who's gonna solve all your health problems. I eat gas station hot dogs. I'm just fascinated with some of the science that's tied in with fungi. And to me, some of it has to do with our own health. So sometimes my videos come across like I'm trying to be Mr. Mushroom Health Guy. And
Dean.
and I enjoy and I do enjoy mushrooms for my health. And I do enjoy adding fresh wild like turkey tail and some of the mushrooms from the woods to my
Yeah.
diet, knowing that it's probably boosting, it's counteracting some of the garbage that I am putting in.
Yeah. I
Maybe
mean, I'm
I'm definitely underthinking.
sitting here with a cigarette in my hand off camera. You know, nobody is a perfect picture of health, but we try to counteract some things. And like you, the science behind these plants and these fungi, it just totally fascinates the heck out of me, whether it's for health benefits
Yep.
or what it does for the the environment, or whatever it may be. It just
That's
fascinates
what
the
it
heck out of me.
is. That's
And I
what it
just want
is
to
too.
take
To
a
me,
second to say
it's an
hello to
enjoyment.
Dean for a second. Dean, it's good to see you, brother. It's been a while.
Good evening. Happy Tuesday. What day is it over on his side of the world? Is it like Thursday or Friday?
Dean's in
I'm just
Pennsylvania.
I'm kidding. I'm being stupid. I thought he was in Ireland.
No,
Excuse me.
no, I'm pretty sure he said he's in Pennsylvania. He's think he said he's going to be making it to Michael Fest this year.
Okay, then I goofed. There's somebody in Ireland. Got my names twisted here. Somebody else is from Ireland. If he's from Pennsylvania, then of course it's Happy Tuesday.
There's
And
been
I
a
don't
time
think
or
it's
two where I've brought a friend from not Ireland, Australia. I've had a couple of one or two Australians come over and visit with us during your
yep.
streams.
I
Um,
remember that, or I vaguely remember. But
Ireland,
I could have sworn there was somebody from Ireland or at least the UK that would like get up in the middle of the night to watch the Monday night because it would be like 2 in the morning over there or something.
I don't know.
I don't know if I'm doing the math wrong. So yeah, somebody. So and I thought that was Loving Dean the God Machine who had changed his name.
Yeah, now he's Organic Machine Dean 333.
I love the fact that he's still a machine though.
And I appreciate the fact that you keep the name Dean in there because I'd never remember who you are, man. My memory is horrible. Michael Fest, however, every it's the first weekend of August every year. So
Yeah, I did
but
get to see
actually,
like a little preview video clip. I'm sure you caught that video too. Was it on Instagram maybe?
I haven't been on
But it was
Insta in a while. I'll have to go
I
over and
did
check that out though. But
there's somebody posted a video kind of like a hype video for 2025. But they're
okay,
coming back to the same location.
yep.
I just didn't remember the date. But yeah,
Dean,
you're most likely
look up
right.
Mycosymbiotics, or if you just look up Mycofest, I'm sure you'll find it. Tickets are on sale right now.
And still a mystery as to my involvement or how I'm going to be how I'm going to be involved in MycoFest this
Shoot him
year.
an email.
But
Definitely.
no doubt I'm going to MycoFest if I got to walk there. And I joke, but I don't because this truck I'm driving is like, yeah, this is it. We may not be
It's still going.
it may
It's
not be
okay.
going to Myco. Yeah, but we're working on getting something else that'll get me to Michael Fest. This truck is probably in its last year on the road.
That's okay. I mean, shit.
So
Mine's got 394,000 miles on it. It's a 2015, and
I don't have a button for it.
I've been planning on at least another 200,000 miles out of this truck. I
Are
I'm
you
not giving up,
serious?
man.
Wow. I wish I had a button that like a radio DJ has where I can like hit an applause button because that's kudos to you. That's crazy.
It's a
I'm
Chevy.
now I don't know if you were raised where you knew mechanics as a teenager or a young adult, where you took care of your vehicles as a young man, or this is stuff you just learned as you went.
No.
But I'll tell you what, the cars I had 20 years ago, it was horrible. And it seemed like every vehicle I found a new way to kill it. Now I'm finally at the stages in my life where I can keep a vehicle on the road no matter what. So but kudos to you because that's impressive.
Well, no. As far as maintenance goes, I'm horrible. This is the only vehicle I've ever changed the oil in. And the only reason I changed the oil in this vehicle is number one, I bought it brand new. I'm never going to buy a brand new vehicle again. I'm not going to make that mistake. The next vehicle I buy, it's going to probably be old square body Ford or old square body Chevy, something late 70s, mid 80s, real simple to work on and fix. And I'm not a mechanic. So anything that gets done to my truck is being done by somebody else. So as far as I'm concerned, the older, the better. There's less crap that can go wrong with it. This electronic stuff it's killing me. An
So
$80
the
sensor
only
has had my truck messed up for well over 2 years. And finally, a buddy of mine figured it out. And he's not even a real mechanic. He's like a backyard mechanic, no like real education in mechanics. So, like, I, I spent well over 15 grand on my truck in the last 2.5 years trying to get this problem fixed. And it ended up being a buddy I was just hanging out with, and he figured it out. It cost me $80 to fix it. In the long run, it was an $80 part that cost me well over 15 grand and an engine and transmission.
sure, I'm gonna
So
sound like a conspiracy nut, but what if they phase out, they tell us we can't have on the road a vehicle pre like 2000 or something,
states
unless
are already
unless
doing
as
it.
a unless it has a special like collector car tag where you can only put so many thousand miles a year on it, right? If they do something like that, then you're going to see shops like your auto zones and your do it yourself or auto mechanics shops are going to shut down, and you're only going to be able to get vehicles done,
Well,
where they got the computer readers and stuff. It's all going to be you go to the actual dealers and crap.
in
I
the
don't know.
state of
Once again, I probably sound like a conspiracy nut.
all of the other vehicles I ever purchased came from, I think it was either Massachusetts or Vermont, or both. In the state of Massachusetts, if you have a rust spot on your vehicle bigger than like an inch, you can't register your car. They won't let you register your vehicle if it has any rust on it.
That's PA basically too. Thank
So,
goodness the old glory that I'm driving is from Texas most of its life, so it's dodged
mhm.
rust. But yeah, I guess very few states. I don't know if Michigan changed, but back in Michigan, you could drive. The thing could be like falling to pieces, and you could drive that thing down the road.
Yeah.
But
Well, I
that's a
got
rarity these days.
I drive a 1 ton, so I don't have to pass the emissions or anything like that. I do have to pass the safety inspection, but it doesn't have to get hooked up to the computer. Check engine lights, whatever lights are on my dash, it don't matter as long as my brakes are good, my lights work, my horn works, my windshield isn't broken, the basic stuff. That's all I have to deal with. Thank God. It's one of the reasons I bought an HD instead of a half-ton pickup truck, because I can't afford to, replace every little thing every time my check engine light comes on. So I don't have to deal with all the emissions crap.
Hey, I just thought of something. Okay. You're coming to Myco Fest. Are you driving that truck? Probably not, I imagine.
I normally rent a vehicle because I like.
That's what I figured.
Yeah, the first year I came out, I drove my truck because it was running great. Right now, every day I get in my vehicle, I like the idea of knowing that I can still afford the tow bill home if or when something goes wrong. If I drive to
All
PA, I'm
right,
leaving the truck there. If it breaks down, I couldn't afford that tow bill.
I got a proposal then, possibly. So with me on the hunt, not just for mushrooms, but for a new vehicle or new for me,
Right.
used vehicle, whether it be a suburban or a cargo van, something that's going to be where I can stay on the road, keeping myself mobile, not breaking stride in that regard. But
Yep.
ideally, to be sitting in something that's four-wheel drive would be awesome because I've been putzing through these mountains with a rear-wheel drive Suburban meant for flatland, and I've been toting these hills like it's nothing, but it shows. I'm missing door handles and a mirror and such, right? I need to do better. So I've considered let's keep it in the four wheel drive category, possibly. But I'm
Oh
not
yeah.
opposed. I'm definitely not opposed if the price is right and the value and the miles. You know how it is when you're shopping for a vehicle. There's a lot you can consider, and
Yep.
I'm not necessarily, I don't know if I'm hell bent, although I'm heavily leaning four-wheel drive. But that aside, this is my proposal to you. If I get something I'm bringing it out to Michael Fest. How do you feel about taking some time, a session with me? It could be an afternoon. I know Michael Fest is super busy for you, so this is a heavy question, a heavy favor that is, because I know how you are at Michael Fest. I feel like you don't give yourself enough free time, enough rest time, that is.
Last
So
year I
if I ask a
overdid it a
favor,
little bit.
no, I'm fully aware of what you are at Michael Fest. When I ask this favor, you don't have to, but I think it'd be pretty cool if you said, "Hey, let's make this thing. Let's build something inside this thing and do some conversion." Well, that's just me saying while I got the hand, a
Right.
handyman hand, somebody who's like me who knows. You've seen what I did with the Suburban with the current setup with the drop down closet. I don't think
Yeah.
I'm gonna do a drop down closet in another one. I think I'm gonna keep shelving on the sides and put it in where the back glass windows are, something of that sort instead of on the
Yep.
roof. But that aside, I just thought, what if I asked Shroom Day if he's not super busy, if he wanted to spend a couple hours seeing what we could do, we could plan it out. Obviously, I'm talking about a chicken that hasn't hatched yet as
Yeah. I
far
mean,
as
if
getting the
not during the
vehicle.
day, definitely during the evening after they close down for the night.
Oh,
It's not.
shoot. Like
It's
we
not
did,
like.
like our Harold and Kumar last year.
Yeah, it's not like we're going to bed at 10 o'clock at night.
Right.
I was
Man,
so
since we're
tired
going
the
to the
next
same
day, dude.
place,
Dude, I was beat the next day. I would we get back at like what 4 a.m. and I was up
or
again
yeah,
at 7:30, 8 o'clock, something like that. Yeah, I was dragging ass, and people know it too. I walked up with my coffee in my hand. I'm like,
we are getting too old for that. Man, but
yeah.
we were doing it. Well, you were doing it out of just the kindness of your heart and just wanting to hang out and chill with me while I was doing my necessities.
I needed
I think I
smokes.
was
That's the truth. I needed smokes, and I needed somebody to bring me to the store, and I didn't want to move my van
okay.
again. But it was totally worth it. I had a great time.
Shoot.
And dude, it's a blessing in the long run because you wouldn't have made it back that night. I don't think.
Yeah, because you had. Well, I don't know all the details at this point. I just know I had a dead battery. Did you have a jump pack on you?
Yeah, I had a jump pack that I needed to recharge because it was at like 22% when we left the grounds.
Excuse me.
And
Oh,
we
that's
ended
right.
up,
And we brought it along with us.
that little thing is a little miracle box because I think that thing jumped your truck like 2 or 3 times when it only had 22% to begin with.
What do you remember what brand it is? I probably
Uh,
already asked you because I
I can
bought one.
hold on
I
a
own
second.
one now.
I can tell you.
Yeah,
I
I
got.
bought one this winter.
Oh, I do not have. I got rid of the box.
It's no big deal. I was just curious because I bought one. I didn't buy a super expensive one or anything, but I did get me a Stanley one that's a
No,
lithium pack. So it's just a small one, can jump my
and that.
truck. But in the, I also got a brand new battery in that truck. So if that truck,
Good.
let's just say, let's just say I get another vehicle like a Suburban, similar style or something where I know it's the same size battery,
Take it with you.
that I'm taking the battery off this thing. I'm taking the tires. It's got new tires, a new battery. And this, I'm just yanking more parts off this truck. This will be the
Well,
parts truck. That's why it'd be fun to get another, maybe like a 2005. Keep it
right.
in the same generation, but newer. If
I
I
mean, if
found a
you're talking
2005 with low miles, that would
tires
be
and a
nasty.
battery for your truck, that's $1,000 right there. If you were to
Well,
replace 4 new tires and a new battery, that's two
I
hundred
buy
dollars a
some cheap.
tire. And
I buy some cheap tires, bro.
okay, yeah,
I might
mine
be
cost.
spending, but still, yeah. Let's say $600 to $700. That's still some savings there, no
Yeah,
doubt.
the
And
cheap tires for my truck cost 300 a piece last winter.
yeah, but you got that big 1 ton, so
I
yeah, I can
E-rated.
imagine.
Yeah, they're 10 ply E-rated, and they won't put any other tires on my truck unless it's E-rated 10 ply.
Right,
So, yeah, I'm paying for it.
more money, more problems, as they say.
I just replaced the
Sure.
alternator on that thing. $580 for the cheap alternator. For an alternator.
What?
The last time I bought an alternator for my truck, I think it was like $120.
Yeah,
Five $580, and then I found out there was nothing wrong with my old alternator. That wasn't the cause of the problem. You can't return alternators.
oh my goodness. Oh man.
On the bright
Well,
side, I
don't
have a
don't
spare
tell me it was
alternator now.
something. Don't tell me it was something silly like a relay or something that's like
I
a
don't
small
know.
little part.
My truck has it was overcharging. Our vehicles while running are supposed to charge around 13 to 14 and a half volts. Mine was charging around 16 to 17, which could burn up the computer and all sorts of relays and all sorts of really bad stuff. So I looked it up, and there's a voltage regulator
Wow.
built into the alternator for my truck. So they said, everybody was saying it's your voltage regulator. You need to replace your alternator. So I replaced it and started the truck up, and it still overcharged. Um, that lasted about 2 months. I never looked into it any further after spending $580 because I was a little bummed out. And ever since, it's been fine. Like it stopped overcharging about a month after I put the new alternator in.
Okay. My suspicion then is maybe it was the voltage regulator, but the computer needed some mileage under it to kind of adjust or figure it out and make a
No,
counter adjustment. I don't know. I'm That's speculation on my part. But I can say this. That would have been my go-to response too, seeing the voltage being a couple volts higher, running high, because that
mm-hmm.
happened to me on one of my past vehicles too, and it was that because that's where everybody and everything I read was saying that very same thing. So that's
I think it's my computer
whoever.
on its way out, honestly. But it's only a few $100 for a new one, I suppose, if it is that. Um, anyway, different
Hey, I
subject.
got it. I gotta say this. I haven't read the chat not one iota tonight. You did. You mentioned that we had Dean
Dean
was
is here.
here.
Yep.
Hello, Dean. But I see there's a couple people here, and I don't want to be rude. We're kind of talking about our lives and our vehicle struggles, which is a real thing. But I also want to open the chat. I gotta open the chat. If I'm missing something, somebody's saying something, I gotta get in here.
So back to the fungus. I was talking to my neighbor about an experiment I did after listening to a Paul Stamets podcast. Uh, Paul Stamets had discovered that mycelium is capable of using petroleum products, oil, PCBs as a nutrient source. And I did my own little experiment at one time, and I took a quart-sized mason jar, filled it with colonized straw. It was colonized with, I think it was pink oysters or blue oyster mycelium. And then I filled that jar halfway full with used motor oil. And within about a week, that used motor oil had turned from charcoal black to a milky brown. Another week had gone by, it turned into a light, dull gray. And as another month and a half or so passed, the oil was 100% gone. And I still had a jar of extremely healthy white mycelium.
All right. Here's the big
So,
the $1 million question. Would you eat those mushrooms, or have
no,
you eaten the mushrooms?
absolutely not. No, I won't eat mushrooms that I know are contaminated with carcinogens.
So
Um,
no. So here's my thought, though. Do we know, or is this just our own assumptions? Has anybody taken the mushrooms to a lab and chemical analyzed these things? Because that to me would be a number one, kind of being selfish, but that would be a badass video on my channel. To be
if
able
there
to take mushrooms to a lab and say, okay, these grew on this garbage. What's inside the mushroom? I'd like to know.
there are certain enzymes inside that mushrooms that are capable of breaking down the hydrocarbons that make up the petroleum products. And they somehow alter them into a completely different molecule. How,
Smaller ones, probably. Like
as far
they're
as
probably breaking them, cutting them into smaller little micromolecules.
right, but the question is, how
Not
much is
saying they're
left
safe
over?
though.
And it's going to get spread out over time. Like he was saying in the podcast, the mycelium eats the pollution, which attracts, and then mushrooms grow, which attracts insects, which attracts birds and other animals. And the other birds and animals, their droppings spread seeds. And, I think William Padilla Brown called it bird shit ecology. Pardon the expression, but ultimately the birds eat plants with seeds. They fly over, they poop, more things grow out of their poop. So ultimately, if they're able to bring back habitats that have been just completely annihilated by pollution, then that. So anyway, I was talking to my neighbor about it, and this dude is just so curious and enthusiastic about getting something started. He claims he's got some connections because I can colonize all the straw in the world, but as far as finding people that have a use for it, convincing people, hey, this is what this is capable of doing for not only you, but the environment and your land. So we've only been talking about it for a couple of weeks, but yeah, he's really big on trying to get something started. So at some point in the future, may have something new to talk about. He wants to get a whole business going. He told me, he said he's ready to invest. God knows I'm ready for a change.
Well, you're already planning on coming to Pennsylvania in August. And
Absolutely.
I wouldn't ask you to come to Pennsylvania just to come down and see me a separate trip. But if you're already coming down that weekend, depending on what I have going on as well, I'm wondering if I could kidnap you
I don't know about
ex-
that.
an extra
Howdy, howdy,
day.
Mr. Chubby Hubby. Mr. Chubby
What?
Hubby just
Who's
stopped
here?
in.
Hey, good evening, Mr. Chubby Hubby. I know we've missed a few others. There's people that pop in and don't show their name necessarily. I do want to welcome all. Our topics vary all over the place. We're kind of back on the mushrooms, but I'm just talking about kidnapping my friend here and colleague, Mr. Shroom Day, only because when he's in the neighborhood near me, I love hanging out with him, and I'll miss him when he has to leave.
It was a
So
good time for sure.
I'm like, dang, can I maybe if he stays, we plan out Sunday night into Monday morning, and you hit the road Monday morning.
Well, I
Just
am
saying, just
obligating
saying.
myself to help tear down. Um,
Or is
so
that what you normally did?
well,
Did you normally hit the road
last
Monday?
year last year was the first time I helped out as far as tearing down goes. The year before that, I had to duck out. I wasn't there for setup. Um, I might try to get there for. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be there for setup this year. But yeah, I let them know I'm committed to help them tear down. A lot of people
I
take
forget.
off after they commit.
Are we talking Sunday morning or are we talking Monday morning though? I forget. It's Sunday morning, isn't
Oh,
it?
Sunday afternoon is when they start.
Yeah, people are leaving. Okay, yeah, people leave Sunday afternoon, so nobody's there Monday.
I spent the night
Even
Monday and helped them take up down. There's some lighting and some other stuff that had to be packed up. I'm pretty sure Will also pack. I helped Will pack up on Monday. Pretty sure it was Monday.
then I don't remember if I left Sunday or Monday. I forget. I honestly don't remember. I feel like I left Sunday.
I don't. Now you're making me question it. Hey,
You,
honey, do you remember if I came home on a Sunday or Monday from MycoFest last year? I came home on a Monday. Okay.
well, there we are. So what I'd be asking is this year, hang out with me Monday after we shut the place down and clean it up. You and I hang out the next day, maybe either hit the woods or we just say, no, we've been in the woods all weekend. Let's not hit the woods. But
Or we
whatever
just
we do,
disappear for an afternoon during MycoFest. Like technically I only have to volunteer for 4 hours a day, even though I was pretty much at it the entire time. Um, I could just let them know, hey, I'm gonna work my shift and disappear on this day.
do you already know what you're doing?
Not yet.
Like, I was gonna
I'll
say, don't
probably
tell me there.
I'll probably tell them to give me the same thing they gave me last year. Garbage. It's the one thing that everybody
No,
else fucking bailed on, dude. Nobody else was there to do it.
no. I was gonna say, don't tell me they gave you trash duty, and you're
No,
telling
but
me that's what you're asking for, basically, or
no,
you'd be happy with it.
everybody else is gonna bail. It sucked.
Yeah, freaking those freaking volunteers, right? You get what you pay for.
Shit.
Dang.
But
No, it is what it is. And that honestly, that stands out to me. That to me is like that's a big deal that you're a volunteer, but you're coming in like you're getting paid. You're bringing that ownership energy. And that's what I'd be looking for. If I was looking to bring somebody on board to my team, I'd want somebody that
well,
they treat what they're working on like it's theirs, like they own it.
like I
You
told
know?
Will, I
That's
believe in what he's doing and I want to see him succeed. That's all. He's
Right.
an amazing human being that's done things that nobody else on this planet has ever done before, and he's sharing it for free. Yeah, he has the seminars and classes, and he sells products, but the information is free. It's out there, and he put it out there.
He
If you're not,
made 100 of hymns. You and me are like we're like clones of him or offspring, however you want to look at it.
I am not
We
nearly as smart as he is. I'm not even going to
no,
try to pretend.
but you were inspired by him and maybe others, but he's to me he was a primary inspiration on me
Hmm.
getting into the cloning wild mushrooms and seeing if I can get them to grow. That
Dean,
aspect of my love of mushrooms came from him.
I want to respond to Dean. I'd be upset if you didn't come and hang out. If you come to Myco
For
Fest and don't
sure.
hang out, I'll take it personal, bud.
I'm not even reading the comments, so
No,
my bad.
Dean said, can I come hang out too? Yes, man. Of course.
Man, okay, then why don't we just plan this right now? This is so welcome, by the way, to the after party chat for season 2 of Fungi Facts on the Mr. Jeff channel. I just wanted to get that out there. So I've got the diehards here. I got the OGs and any other phrase the kids say, referring to the people that were in it from the beginning and are serious about this channel. I appreciate you all.
I gotta look
Um,
something up here real quick. See.
I
Oh,
want I want to see us all at Myco Fest, but here's what would be really amazing is if we just made the Monday after Myco Fest Mr. Jeff Monday, and let's do something with my channel that has anybody that's a fan of my channel that stays after the day after Myco Fest. I'm not asking for no money or donations. I'm asking you to hang out and we go out and do something as long as I can film it. And
yeah.
I post that as a Mr. Jeff Day, fucking
And
whatever, the day after Myco Fest, and we just do our own thing. And it's kind of like literally, it's like the Mr. Jeff left, or I'm sorry, it's like the Myco Fest leftovers. We're going and picking up the pieces. I
I
don't
see
know.
there was a lot of groups of people hanging out afterwards, making plans and meeting up in other places in parks
Okay,
nearby. People were making
there you
plans to
go.
go swimming together, mushroom foraging in another park that was close by.
So we could do just a similar thing, but obviously it's built on the people that are already either they heard of Myco Fest through my channel, so I'm like their primary connection, or maybe we met at Myco Fest and we've been on my channel like you are.
Yeah.
This is, I don't want to make it an exclusive. I almost want to make it like an open invite, but I'm not trying to make it like, hey guys, I'm not feeding yous. Even if 50 people show up, hey, it's just a bunch of us in the woods today. It's just, hey,
We're,
we're hanging out and you're going to be on camera because this is my event. But as
I'm
far
gonna
as
drop
being
a
an
link.
event, it's definitely loose. There's no rules really. You're free to leave. I'm not holding anybody hostage.
Copy. I am dropping a link in the chat right now
To Myco Fest, I'm guessing.
to Mycosymbiotics main page, and right on their main page, it says "Join us for MycoFest," along with a
Ooh,
newsletter to stay tuned and liquid cultures for sale.
speaking of
Cool.
cults, Myco Fest is starting to turn into a cult. So it's good that we got in
Oh,
early, so we can be some of like the top dogs.
maybe
We're just being stupid.
become become
Uh,
one of the generals here. Drink my Kool Aid.
drink,
Wow.
drink this blue tincture. So
Yeah,
if
drink the blue
if
tincture.
if anything, and coming from the world I came from, which was I feel comfortable calling it a cult. Those in it obviously don't feel comfortable calling it that, but hey, whatever. It was cultish at work, or yeah, at best, it was cultish. But that religious world that I came from, to seeing how community can be going to a place like Mycofest year after year. I gotta say this though, the caveat is this. Mycofest is once a year. So you don't get worn out by the same people every Sunday like you may go into the, excuse me, like going to church, right? You're seeing people after a whole year, so it's like, man, I missed you guys. I haven't seen you in a
Hmm.
whole year. So that aside, even if there was a way that we could build the community where it was like, yeah, we do Michael Fest once a year, but we also do kind of like mini events every 3 months that's still affiliated with Michael Fest. So it's some of the same faces, but it's more of like a satellite event, something to hold us
Right.
over, like a spring event and a fall event versus just summertime. Because how often do we go to Michael Fest and man, we're not finding many mushrooms. It's been dry or whatever. Or yeah, we got the storm that hit us the day of Michael Fest, but it's been dry the past 2 weeks, so it's been crap. And then you go back in September, October, it's badass. I'm just saying, I think the idea of doing a Michael Fest more often, even if it's not full blown Michael Fest, but a 1 day type event, I'd love to be the guy that hosts the fall event. I'm just raising my hand right now. Anybody watching affiliated with Michael Symbiotics, I'll be your fall event guy who does a 1 day fall event. We'll call it Howl at the Moon.
I think a fall event would be awesome.
October. It'll just be an October event. And then we have the spring event. Somebody else could host a spring event in Pennsylvania, whoever that might want to raise their hand for, or even up in New York.
There is actually an event right across the river from me in the Catskills that a lot of people from Michael Fest go to. I
Oh,
haven't been
you know
there.
what?
I haven't been there myself, but when I went back and looked at pictures, I saw a lot of familiar faces in those pictures, and I
I'm
was
kind of
kind of
being
sorry I didn't
stupid.
go.
Hey, I'm being stupid. I would be remiss. I'd be negligent if I didn't mention Morel Fest. So, and why I say this is because isn't Priyanka and company, aren't they doing Morel Fest? I
I
don't want to
don't know.
misspeak. I might be misspeaking, but I can say Uncle Fungus is a part of it. I know it because he was posting about it. So what I'm talking about is the festival they do in, was it end of April this year
Where is
or
Morel
beginning,
Fest?
very beginning?
I'm
It's down Lancaster, PA, Southern PA, or Gettysburg, maybe Gettysburg, not Lancaster. I could be wrong, but it's Southern PA and it's a Morel weekend. So that's your spring event right there. Then you got the big event in the summer, Michael Fest, right? So all we got to do is have a smaller fall event, whether it's a 1 or 2 day thing, and call it Howl at the Moon. Obviously,
yep,
I'm calling it that because that's my dream. But hey, if they want to
yeah.
affiliate me with Michael Fest and let me do a fall event attached with them, then you got the trifecta. You got the Spring
Morel
Morel Fest Southern
Morel Fest, April 26th and April 27th at the Conscious Acre Farm
Gettysburg, right?
in Gettysburg. Yep.
Okay, yeah, that's so there it is. And they are sort of affiliated with Michael Fest as far as I recall. If
Yeah.
not, they're friends of Michael Fest because
This
Uncle
is the
Fungus goes to Michael Fest and does his setup.
first time I've ever heard of it.
They've done it for 2 years now, I think, maybe three. I kind of
Huh.
lost count.
No kidding.
So you got
Yeah.
Morel Fest, and then you got the big one, Michael Fest. Everybody already knows. I mean, those that know know. So we just got to have a fall one. You and I, and it could be held up. It doesn't even have to necessarily be in PA. I feel like I know Michael Fest is PA's big festival, mushroom festival, so to say. Even though, you know, we got Kennett Square down here that does their mushroom festival thing in September, but theirs
Yep.
is industry. Theirs is
No
big
shit.
mushroom farms. and they're not like us. They're not into the mushroom hunting side of things at their festival. They're not into the psychedelic
Now,
representation. All Kennett
let me
Square
ask you
is
about this
looks like a bunch of white button mushrooms. Go ahead.
Morel Fest. Is that held by Priyanka and her boyfriend? Because there's only one face on here, and it's Priyanka's boyfriend, David.
So that's where I may have goofed and misspoke
Does,
because
does,
I,
is
and
he the
I'm only
owner of
saying this.
Conscious Acre Farms?
I think so, but here, let me say this with an asterisk. I Because I'm friends with Priyanka on Instagram, right? You may be too.
Yep.
I don't know. Okay, so
Yeah.
recently she posted pictures where I think she's in another country right now, and I'm not trying to stir any mushroom gossip. I could give two shiitakes, all right? But I'm just trying to be at least truthful about what I know. All I know is I think she was in another country, so I don't think she was a part of Morel Fest this year. But what
Okay.
her and the gentleman at the farm, their relationship, I have no clue. I don't want to.
Oh,
I'm
her and
not trying
David
to
are.
spread no gossip.
Well, no, they were dating last year. Priyanka met David at Michael Fest 3 years ago.
Then what I'm saying is her being in another country. I don't know why. Maybe just a mini
She
vacation.
travels.
But she
She
wasn't at.
travels
I
with
don't
her
think she
friends a
was at
lot.
Morel. Okay, she wasn't at her own Morel Fest though. Not this
Yeah.
year.
Mr. Chubby Hubby, what are the odds of you making the 10-hour drive or so and coming to meet up with us?
Hey, we've been doing this for over an hour, by the way. Are you still good?
I'm actually going to be stepping down soon. Hold on 1 second. My
Okay.
girlfriend is standing behind me. Hold on.
Okay, fair enough. Hey, Mr. Chubby Hubby, thank you for joining too. I have not been reading the feed tonight. Um, I'm horrible about that. I just wanted to interject and make sure that Shroom Day was still good to stay for a minute. He is to talk to you, but if he's got to jump off, I'm ending as soon as he ends. We're just going to end it together. But go ahead now. You were talking to Chubby Hubby.
No, I'm good for the moment. I was just wondering if Mr. Chubby Hubby could come and meet up with us. And he said not all that great. The odds. One of these days, maybe. But yeah, 10 hours. He's quite the distance from Pennsylvania. So yeah.
I
Um,
tell you what, if we do meet up or we plan a post Michael Fest day, just a Mr. Jeff meet and greet, we'll call it. Anybody, and I'll do a video on my channel and I'll promote it. Anybody that gets a ticket to Michael Fest, it'll be an invite only to those that went to Michael Fest. If you went to Michael Fest, the next Monday you can hang out with me for free and we'll do a live event at a park. And I'll have it picked out ahead of time. So on that note, I gotta urinate like something fierce. So I'm gonna get off here. I want to say thank you for joining Shroom Day.
now that
And
you mention
anybody
I
in
see
the
you
chat,
dancing, I
yeah,
gotta
I'm
pee.
doing the dance.
All
So
right.
hey, let's call it a night. Once again, we'll do it again next Tuesday, same time, same place. Until
Sounds
next
good.
time, peace.
Mr. Hobby, Dean, it was good seeing you.
Later, guys.
Later on, Mr. Jeff.